Hello. Welcome back to the Wizard Library. Well, we're here. Going to talk about my choice for the GarbAugust Wasted Weekend. For Wasted Weekend, I chose Pope Lick Massacre by Eric Butler. It's about the Goatman legend. It has massacre in the title. I figured I couldn't go wrong with this one, right? I was wrong. The plot of this book is a group of 4 teenage Boy Scouts and their scoutmaster have gone camping in Pope Lick Park, and they have not returned. A group of adults, including the dad of one of the boys and a sister of one of the boys, have decided to go out into the park to look for them. And then carnage ensues. Now, if you're one of the nice normal people who don't know what the Goatman is, or the Pope Lick Monster, as it's also called, let me give you a little history here, because this book doesn't. It also assumes that you know where the story takes place, because it never tells you. But I digress. The Pope Lick Monster, or Goatman, is a monster that is part man, part goat, part sheep, that supposedly lives under the railroad trestle bridge that runs over Pope Lick Creek outside of Louisville, Kentucky. Now, this monster is said to use either hypnosis or vocal mimicry to lure people to the top of this bridge, to the top of the trestle bridge, and then it either through hypnosis causes people to jump off to their doom, or when people get up there and they see the Goatman, they're so disturbed by the Goatman that they jump off to their doom. It's creepy. So going into this, I was excited because, I love Goatman. I love that Eric Butler decided to use Goatman as the villain in the story, because this is a good one, right? This is a good choice. I do want to say that this book is really well written. Okay? It is clear that a lot of time was taken in writing it, in formatting it, in editing, which honestly makes the rest of what I have to say about it so sad, because a lot of care was put into this. But this book is bland. It's boring. Okay? This book is the equivalent of a low budget direct to DVD horror movie that the synopsis sounds good. You saw a trailer that looked promising, and then when you bring it home, It's bad. That one scene from the trailer is like the epitome. It's like the one highlight of the movie. And you don't stop watching because you paid for it. But it never ever rises above. And it takes itself seriously. So you can't crack on it. There's no humor. So you can't even like make fun of it, or like it's not even a popcorn flick. So when you're done, you just sit there like, yep, that's 2 hours of my life I'm never going to get back. And you return it and then promptly forget that you watched it. That is the experience of reading this book. Okay. The plot is boring. The characters are bland. They're boring. They're one-dimensional. The setting is flat. Like there is that one trailer scene. You know, there's that one scene at the very beginning that hooked me. That was creepy and it hooked me. I was like, "Ooh, this is going to be good." And then that was it. That was it. That's all we got. That was where it peaked. I had absolutely no emotional response to anything that happened in this book. Like, the scenes of violence were written in such a detached way. It was like reading stereo instructions. It was like reading a manual.
This thing reads like stereo instructions.
But let me go into a little bit more into this book here. No spoilers. I won't give away like the plot, but this book follows 3 main plots. We have 3 main threads. We have the boys, the Boy Scouts, and their scout leader who have been kidnapped by the Goatman. We don't see this happen on screen. It happens before the book starts. We have the group of adults who decide to go looking for the Boy Scouts who are missing. And then we have Reverend Walter White. That's not his name. I don't remember what his name is. But he's basically a preacher who is setting up a meth operation in this park. And he's concerned because these boys have gone missing and these adults are going out looking for these kids right where he's setting up his operation. And he doesn't want them to find his operation. So he needs to make sure that like nothing gets in his way. There's also a completely unnecessary subplot with Reverend Walter White, where he is a kidnapper and a sexual predator. This literally has nothing to do with anything else in the book. It adds nothing to the rest of the plot. And I was genuinely confused as to why it was here. I came up with 2 working theories as to why it was here. One, the author has just a real ingrained hatred for organized religion and just wanted to like throw shade at this preacher even more by making him more despicable, because, you know, stealing from his church and making meth wasn't bad enough. Or he just wanted to add more horror elements to the story. So he decided to add, like, you know, some kidnapping and torture and SA. I don't know. I was honestly just very annoyed by the whole thing because it made no point, or it made no sense, and it didn't add anything, and it never went anywhere, and it didn't tie into anything, and it was just pointless. And it was written, the scenes with it were written so badly that I didn't know what was happening. Like, clearly there was SA and torture going on, but I didn't know what type. I didn't know exactly what was happening. So I didn't know what kind of horror and disgust and outrage to feel. And I know that might sound weird, but there are different types of reactions to horror that you have to different situations. There are different levels and different types of horror, outrage, disgust, different emotions that you have to things that happen in books. And when an author leaves it vague, you just sit there going, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel here. What level of reaction am I supposed to have? Am I supposed to be disgusted? Am I supposed to be outraged? Am I supposed to be outraged and disgusted? Am I supposed to be horrified, outraged, and disgusted? I need to know. And if you're a horror reader, especially an extreme horror reader, you will understand what I'm saying. I know you know. And if you don't know, just trust me on this. And believe me, and let me just let me just say, just put this out there just to be sure everybody knows. I don't want graphic depictions of SA. I don't want it. I don't need it. But I do need to know a bit more specifically what exactly is happening. So, you know, okay, so throughout the story, we do get mild character development. And it's okay. It's not enough to make you care whether they live or die. I didn't care. I didn't care about whether anybody lived or died or what happened to them. All of the Boy Scouts, the teenagers were very interchangeable, and I didn't know which one was which, honestly. Except I did wonder if two of them were orphans because we never hear about two of them's parents. Now, two of them have guardians who are out here looking for them. And the wife of the scoutmaster is out here looking for them. But the other two, apparently their parents just either don't exist or don't care that their kids just never came back from the woods. It was weird that was missing. And, you know, beyond that, the adults are equally as boring. There's mild attempts at interpersonal relationships and interpersonal like conflict, but it comes across as very just basic. And again, didn't really care. We have a mild twist where one of the adults is working with Reverend Walter White, but it never goes anywhere or has any effect on anything. So it was just oh, okay. That's cool. Again, nothing that happens in this book ever aroused any real emotion of any kind, other than the annoyance at why is this whole like subplot here. And as I said earlier, the setting is non-existent. Because I know the story of the Goatman, I knew where this was set. But the author never talks about where we are, really, like never says specifically. They mention he mentions like the Cardinals and Louisville and some some colleges, but never specifically says where we are. I kept going back to see if I'd missed it. I was like, did he actually say where we are? No. No. Never mentions like the park by name. But other than so I would have if I had gone into this blind, I would have had no idea where this was. He doesn't describe anything. Like the woods or the park itself, like there's no descriptors. None. Like no idea of what it's supposed to look like other than it's dark. Like no scene building. And what time of year is this? Like, is it hot? Is it cold? I have no idea. I had no idea at all. I was a impartial observer, basically. There's no atmosphere, right? And like they go into these caves where the Goatman lives, and like it's dark and there's lots of caves. That's pretty much it. There's a couple of moments where there's vague mention of sound or not sound, smell, but it's not really described. So it didn't really evoke anything. It's like when I read, I want to be transported into the story. I want to be there. I want to feel it. I want to, see it, taste it, touch it, kiss it. I want to be there. Like I want to be in the moment. And I wasn't. I was not there. At all. Okay. And okay. The plot itself is easy to follow. You don't get lost or anything. I'll give it that. It's an easy read. It's fast paced. It's not really any downtime. But I also didn't care at all. Like this book was such a letdown. I was so sad. I finished this book and I was just depressed because it was like this book was such a letdown. I wanted so much more from this. And it just made me I wanted to love it and I didn't. I gave it 2 stars because it was well written and I liked the concept, but overall I was just sad. There is a sequel to it. I believe it's called Silly Rabbits. I'm not gonna read it. No, not gonna read that. But hey, I have seen several people write really good reviews about this book. A lot of people love this book. So, if the concept of a Goatman out in the woods killing people sounds like it might be of interest to you, check it out. It's on Kindle Unlimited. It might be up your alley. It might be for you. And don't be put off by the extreme horror title on this one because it is extreme light. The extreme elements are not overwhelming. It is not overly graphic. Like I said, like the essay scenes are very bland. They're very not bland. They're very vague is the more appropriate word. So there's no graphic descriptions there. The violence is where the extreme comes in, and even those are not like in detail. You don't get a lot of like gory details here. So don't have to worry too much about that if you're worried about gore. So yeah, if it sounds like something you might be interested in, go ahead, pick it up, try it. You might like it. I guess I was just expecting it to be more better. I don't know. Maybe if I was in a different mindset, maybe if I didn't know about Goatman and had such high hopes for it, because like I said, it is one of my favorite cryptids. So maybe I just had a higher standard for it because of that. If you know nothing about Goatman, maybe you'll like it. Just need to find a book about a cryptid that I don't know anything about. Maybe I'll be fine. I'll like it more. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. So that's it. That's my wrap up for GarbAugust Wasted Weekend. Sorry this is a little bit late. Have a good one. Read what you love, and I will talk to you later. Bye.